And some 70 people turned out tonight for a protest at the state capitol, chanting the slogans "Hands up, don't shoot," and "I can't breathe," representing the two recent controversial cases with white police officers and black suspects. The sentiment here that America has a long way to go when it comes to social justice.
One of the things that we need to take away from it is that this is not acceptable any longer. And if we're going to move forward, there has to be a clear plan of action.
Equality is a fight that is ongoing and will never actually be fully achieved, but something we should always strive to achieve.
Protesters at the Capitol tonight also laid on the ground for 4.5 minutes to represent the 4.5 hours Michael Brown's body lay in the street after his shooting in Missouri.
No justice, no peace.
And earlier today, about 200 students holding what they called a die-in protest at the UT campus. They chanted slogans and held signs saying things like "Black Lives Matter" and "This stops today."
It starts here on college campuses. It starts with young people getting together and deciding that we're not going to take this anymore, and that we are going to do our best to use our voices, use our bodies, and use the agency that we have to make sure that this does not happen again.
KXAN's David Scott spoke tonight with the Austin Police Monitor and the head of the local NAACP. Both agree much progress has been made in recent years, but more remains to be done.
Austin created a police monitor back in 2002, exactly to watch for street justice. Margot Frazier says Austin's making strides.
As I go around the country and as I look at other places, I recognize that we're extremely fortunate, I think, in the city of Austin, that there is a good relationship. It hasn't always been that way.
Local NAACP President Nelson Linder agrees if the DAs and politicians will just back up the laws.
I think the protocol overall is fairly good. If you look at APD, you've had some individual agents like Kleiner who do some bad stuff, but in general, the policies are good. They need to be enforced.
APD banned using chokeholds back in the 90s. Around the time, Travis County deputies became the first in Central Texas to have street cameras under the direction of then Sheriff Frazier.
Everybody behaves a little better. I think that I've long recommended the body cameras, particularly for the officers who work down in the entertainment district. And we had recommended some for like the motorcycle officers before they were able to get some on their vehicles.
Linder likewise believes cameras have their purpose, but it still comes down to the human factor.
There's a lot more than just cameras. We got to ensure, number one, that in a case like Eric Garner, is recorded, right? So cameras, you got to have artificial solutions. It's got to be a human solution. Demand regardless of tactics. If they're bad tactics, demand accountability.
And no camera, not even an X-ray, can tell you what's in the human heart. David Scott, KXAN News.
Tomorrow we'll be covering the scheduled arraignment of former Austin Police Detective Charles Kleinert. He's facing a manslaughter charge in the death of Larry Jackson Jr. Jackson was shot in a resulting struggle following a foot chase with Kleinert back in July of last year. Kleinert was indicted by a Travis County grand jury. We will have the latest on this case on the air and online at KXAN.com.